Welcome everybody to a video that I was not necessarily planning on making, but through some unforeseen circumstances, I've been able to kind of hodgepodge this video and give some value to the million-dollar question, and that is, do broken headstocks sound better? So let me catch you up to speed real quick in case you're unfamiliar with what we're talking about. The lore with broken headstock repair guitars is they sound better once they're repaired. Something about when the headstock breaks and then it's repaired with wood glue, there's something about, supposedly again, where the sound transfers through the neck better, there's more sustain, it's a stronger joint so it's not going to break. There's a lot of supposed benefits of breaking your headstock and then repairing it. There are so many famous guitars out there with broken headstock repairs, and everybody more or less says that once you repair the headstock, they sound better. But I don't know if anybody's ever really been able to accurately try this out. Be a guitar that's not broken and then broken. Because who in their right mind would snap a headstock just for the sake of science, right? Well, here we go. Here's today's video. So a couple days ago, I was filming a different video. I was reviewing some sort of product and I was capturing a DI and I was playing a guitar of mine. A couple days later, the guitar sustained a headstock break, a pretty nasty one. My fault.
My fault.
So we have everybody. Oh no, my Gibson Flying V. The headstock is snapped off, everybody. However, like I said, there's going to be some value to this video. So hang on to your seats. So this is a tour guitar of mine. This is more or less my number 2 when traveling and when touring. And yeah, dude, like I said, my fault. Headstock broke.
My fault.
Like I said in the beginning of this video, we could hodgepodge this video together. I was recording with this guitar just a couple days ago. And so, unfortunately, the headstock broke, but to make the most of the situation, I was like, oh, dude, I recorded that. Let's glue the headstock back on, and then let's record this guitar exactly more or less the same way and see if we can A/B the results and see if ultimately the guitar with the repaired headstock does in fact sound better. Now, I'm no expert with with woodworking, so I just grabbed some glue, dude. I just grabbed some Tight Bond and I just glued it on there rather poorly, kind of on purpose. I know a lot of people love their guitars, and I love my guitars too, but at the end of the day, man, it's a piece of wood. I don't need it to look cute and pretty, and honestly, dude, that looks kind of sick. A lot of people pay for fake headstock repairs anyway, or like they'll get like a replica and it'll have like a headstock repair like graphic on there. Dude, it's a piece of wood. Obviously, kind of bummed, but also too, it's kind of cool in a way if I can do some mental gymnastics that, you know, this thing broke and I repaired it. Now we can do a test and see the results of this guitar with a broken headstock and a non-broken headstock. I recorded this guitar a couple days ago, just capturing a DI, so I'll give you guys the raw DI as well as it running through an amp sim, the STL Tones Will Putney, and then I'll put up the graphic of the equalizer so you can see the EQ capturing the DI to see if anything stands out in terms of like any specific frequencies, or see if any sort of visual aid does in fact explain what's going on. And then I'll play non-broken headstock, and then I'll play repaired headstock, 2 takes back to back, and then just put it all together in one congruent A/B side by side. Let's see if this thing sounds different and if it sounds quote unquote better. Let's get into it. All right, everybody. So what are the results? What are our findings? I do, in fact, think they sound a little bit different. Now, let's be honest. This was not a perfect scientific experiment, meaning I was not foreseeing myself doing this experiment. So I tried to get the gain on my interface to be as accurate as possible. I tried to have as fresh a gauge of strings on both of these guitars as much as possible. I tried to make it as controlled as possible. However, like I said several times in this video, I was not planning on doing this experiment. It just more or less happened, right? That being said, when the guitar did not have a broken headstock, it sounded very snappy. It sounded very twangy. And I did notice that this guitar had that sound when playing with it for the better part of 7-8 months ever since I've gotten it. This guitar always had like a real spanky kind of tone. And it served its purpose when playing live and recording, but also too, I didn't really necessarily like that sound that much for certain endeavors. Now, right here, my findings today showed that this guitar has a more deeper type of sound. It's not as pingy, it's not as twangy. It's got a little bit more rumble in there. And I don't know if that's definitively because of the headstock repair or if it's human error in this scientific experiment. But I will say, based off of my findings, I think this thing does sound a little bit different now. Now, the $1 million question, does it sound better? I don't know. I really don't know. The subtle differences are exactly that, subtle and hard to pick apart. But dude, like, it does have a little bit of a different sound. And I don't know if that's because of my crude repair that I crudely put together on purpose, like, to prove a point. I don't want it to look cute. I don't need to spend, $500 to get it repaired. Dude, it's a piece of wood. And if it breaks again, then maybe I'll go and get it repaired. But just like my Silverburst Les Paul Custom that's just behind me, I repaired that thing myself, and it's had 2 headstock repairs. And I've never needed to get it professionally done yet either. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, everybody, to wrap up this video, does it sound better? It sounds a little bit heavier and a little bit more low-end rumble in there. Ever so slightly, but I think it's there. When it didn't have a broken headstock, it was a little bit more pingy and a little bit more twangy and snappy. I don't know if that's human error. I don't know what's going on there. Is the difference monumental? No. Is there a difference? In my opinion, yes. So those are my thoughts and opinions on this scientific experiment and what way and what a good way to just make something out of an unfortunate, circumstance here, right, everybody? So with that being said, what do you guys think of this video? What do you think of how this guitar sounds now? Just really curious to hear what you guys think. I don't know if anybody's ever done this experiment ever on YouTube. I might be the first person to ever do this. So with that being said, everybody, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. And with that being said, I'll see you guys in a video very, very soon. Later.